Welcome to the Ardan Labs podcast. Our special guest today is Mary Moore-Simmons. Mary Moore-Simmons, I can't believe we finally got you on this show. Kevin, we have been waiting for this, and now we've got Mary here. Hey, Mary.
Hi. How's it going?
All right, Mary, give everybody the 2-minute spiel, but stay in the present. Stay in the present. Don't leak any of your past just yet. Stay in the present. 2-minute spiel on what you're doing today.
Yeah, so I'm the VP of Engineering at Keebo. Keebo is a Series A startup. So we do automated data warehouse optimization. We use a lot of AI, which is fun, to automatically optimize Snowflake and Databricks warehouses to improve performance and improve cost without people having to go in and do things manually. And yeah, I'm our head of engineering there. We have a small but mighty team. Yeah, we try to like do cool stuff and have fun.
All right, so this is all new for me because though I'm a software developer, I hate ops. I don't deal with ops. Don't I have people that love ops. That ain't me. So maybe you can go a tiny bit deeper into like the business problems you're trying to solve.
Yeah,
Just
engineers that
yeah.
hate ops are like our perfect customers. So, what I would say that a lot of our customers, well, I'll say there's like kind of like two ideal customer profiles for us. Folks that are they're engineers and they love building new features, but they don't really like the annoyance of maintaining data warehouses, specifically the annoyance of worrying about performance tuning or worrying about cost efficiency. They sort of like they bought a data warehouse so they didn't have to worry about those things to a certain extent. And so what Keebo does is we set up for Snowflake is what we do mostly, but we just started expanding into Databricks. But essentially, customers will give us access to their metadata about their data warehouses, and then give us like an account or a user that has access to modify their data warehouses. And what we do is we train a machine learning model on their historical usage of their warehouses and use that model to automatically make changes that will improve their performance or improve their costs. So like at a very like simple level, for example, on Snowflake, Snowflake has different sized warehouses. And so what we can do is we can train a machine learning model on your historical data, and we can then downsize a warehouse from like a medium to a small when it's not in use. Or if we notice that your warehouse is normally a small, but you have like a big workload coming in that tends to come in at a certain frequency, or like we see certain like load patterns that happen right before we see this big like job tend to come in, we can upsize your warehouse automatically before that job comes in to make sure that your performance is strong. So
So
that's like a sort of like just one micro example, but it's like a sort of good sort of base example of what we do.
I've never needed to work with a data warehouse. I didn't even know Snowflake was in Amazon. I've heard of Databricks more and more because of the
Mm-hmm.
AI stuff. But when we talk about data warehouses, are we talking about just storage, like raw storage? I can put anything in there, almost like beyond S3. Like, what do we? I'm sorry. I this is kind of all new for me.
This is great. No, I'm glad you're asking. Thank you. Yeah, so for data warehouses, generally there's like traditional databases that I think of like is, MySQL is like a traditional type database and relational database. And that database historically, that type of database was really optimized for both reads and writes. And so you had like one set that was really set up for writes, and then you had replicas that you have for reading. And that can work for a lot of situations in which there's like a lot of reads and writes happening in your database. For data warehouses, typically where someone wants to use a data warehouse is usually like someone who's doing a lot of analytics on data. And so they need a ton of reads, and they need to view the data in a lot of different ways, and they need to be able to manipulate the data really easily, but they may not be writing to it frequently. And like writes may not be the most important thing that you care about performance on. And you do care about it, but like typically a lot of times they're fed by like big batch jobs. And a lot of the computational overhead is in like, I want cool charts on top of my data. Like I want to be able to read it from different ways and I want to be able to manipulate it and see it from different perspectives. I would say that like Snowflake is a great example of something that's like a data analyst's dream because a lot of data analysts don't have data engineering experience. And so they don't really want to spend time with like, how do I load the data? How do I like manipulate the data so it's like in the right table format? Snowflake handles a lot of, and other data warehousing tools like Databricks handles a lot of the annoyance of like, how do I get this schema optimized so that I can read it? It's like, we'll handle that for you and we'll charge you for the privilege of handling that. And then you can just focus on like, how do I manipulate this data and like view this data in different ways?
So, I mean, I can essentially run MySQL being backed by one of these data warehouses for the data that's in this, and it's large databases because it's all read, right? Like everything's archived into it or something.
Yeah, so a lot of ways that people load data is like they'll take Amazon S3 and like put Snowflake on top of it, as an example. And Snowflake will, Snowflake, I think, implement it. It integrates with with like GCP and Azure. It integrates with all of the major cloud providers. But it essentially like you take data and like you get it into Snowflake somehow, and they try to make it very easy for you to get data in there from whatever other data source you have, so that then it just makes it easier to manipulate. Their pricing model is very. It's great. It's really clever because it's like, we will make it super easy for you to get this data in. But then when you want to read it, that's when we start charging you money.
Oh, all right. When we're done, I'm going to like look at this SQL Snow Sneakle. God, this is like, you just opened up a whole world. I didn't even know this stuff existed. I haven't dealt with this stuff at that level. So that's super interesting. All right. I got to dig in a little deeper there later. Okay. So this is a podcast about you. We're going to talk about your journey all the way to Keebo. We got an hour and a half to do that. But I got to ask you two questions. I don't know if you've listened to any of the shows, but I'm going to ask you two questions up front. First question, you're going to love this one. What year did you graduate high school and where were you on the planet?
So I graduated from high school in 2006.
Okay.
And I was in Sacramento, California.
Okay, perfect. So that just sort of sets the time when you were like 17, 18. So we needed to have that, 2006. Here's the second question. Now, clear your mind. I don't want you to think too hard. Okay, ready? First memory pops in your head of you hacking on a computer.
Ooh, when was that? Was that in high school? In high school, I think this was high school and not middle school. Oh no, middle school. You know how like classrooms have like classroom computers and you're always trying to like cause trouble with them?
Okay.
And like get into the teacher's systems and like find ways around the security.
Yeah.
That's what I was doing in middle school with me and my ragamuffin friends.
Wow. In one of the, well, it's junior high school. So you're switching classes, but
yeah,
in the lab or in one of the computers, like.
Yeah, so we had, I remember.
Come on, I want to hear your best junior high school hack. Come on.
I love how I can't fully remember. In 6th grade, I had a typing class, which sounds really crazy now that I had like a typing class. That sounds pretty old fashioned, actually.
That was like the first computer class everybody took. Typing.
Yeah, and it was like Mavis Beacon. So I love anyone who remembers Mavis Beacon. Shout out to Mavis Beacon. And we were trying to like figure out if we could get out of the Mavis Beacon software so that we could like get into other software that's on that computer, because they try to make it like fairly, keep you focused. And I think, I don't know, we were able to like get around it so we could like open other things. And then I remember in high school, they had like set up like a local network for the computers and like had not really protected it or made it so that students couldn't get into it. And so when we were like on computers in class, we would like be messaging each other in the background and like dropping files in certain places. So yeah, general like ragamuffin chaos is I think what we were.
Yeah, you had a little gang there in high school,
yeah,
causing all sorts of problems.
Yeah.
Wow, that's cool. See, and it's safe to say these things because they, at this point, the statute of limitations over, so you can't get in trouble.
I generally try to Google statute of limitations before I.
Okay, so I love talking about high school because that's sort of when your life begins, right? Like those 4 years. I've tried to tell my kids, and they're older now, but like high school starts the 4 year hamster wheel, and then you got another 4 years of university, and then you got that last sort of 4 years of sort of where you're going. And if you don't stay on that hamster wheel, it gets interesting with your peers and all that, right? And so sort of high school starts it all. So I want to know, like, what kind of things was Mary interested in high school? What were you doing? What was filling up your time?
I'm gonna say this part first because I feel like I don't know, for some reason I feel like it's embarrassing. I was a huge anime nerd, huge anime nerd. I spent, so I got lucky and my high school had Japanese as like a language you could actually take.
Nice.
And so I spent a lot of my time like watching anime and like studying Japanese, which was I think highly recommend if anyone's like, probably everyone's already discovered this, but if anyone's like trying to become more fluent in Japanese, like highly recommend just watching a ton of anime if that's what you're into.
How are you at pronunciating those words? I'm
Uh,
so bad. I can't even speak Spanish. I'm in Miami. Like that's how bad it
Pronunciation
is.
is one of my strong suits, actually.
Wow.
I love the thing that I love about language. Every time I go to a country with a new language I don't know, I try to learn like a few words like, please, thank you, sorry, excuse me, and like ordering a beer. And the thing I have the most fun with is pronunciation. I love like hearing people like say it and then like try to really get it right. So the pronunciation is the fun part for me, but like for Japanese specifically, they have like they have two alphabets and then there's kanji, which is like the characters for words. And the hard part is like learning all of the kanji. There's just so many to learn, which is hard in Chinese too, but I didn't study that one.
So that means you're good with accents. Like I have 7 kids I manage, so we just number them at this point. So number 7 is really good with accents and like complete control over her voice. So I could just tell her, okay, we're in Alabama now, and she'll switch into this with all the phrasing and pauses, or like we're in London now, and she can do like, can you do that? Can I, if I said, give me the Texas accent, you can like, I can close my eyes and I'm going to think I'm talking to somebody in Texas.
That's fascinating. You know what's interesting is that I within English, like I've never really thought about it within English. So I love paying attention to accents, and I can usually pinpoint when someone's from Pennsylvania or like New Jersey, or
Okay.
and like there's some general clues there. So I love hearing that and being able to be like, "Are you from Pennsylvania?" I feel like I hear this. But usually the accent for me comes with the language. It's like the language comes with its own accent, which I will say like exposes a lack of knowledge of different languages because even within a country there's different accents. But
Yeah.
so I will say like generally I can't do accents within a language. Wow, that's really interesting. I never thought of that. I could do a
No,
cross language thing where I try to get the pronunciation really correct, but like within languages I
I
don't.
bet you can. You just
I've
never
never
really,
tried. Yeah, I've
you never
never
really
actually
thought and
tried.
tried. But I bet so after the show now, you're gonna have to try.
I'm gonna have
But
to
the
try.
number 7 has the phrases. It's not even
Mm-hmm.
the accent like she has. But in Miami, there's a game that's played with all the people from Latin America. So you can look at somebody and you can have like a 50% chance, like maybe where they're from. But as soon as they open up their mouth,
Mm-hmm.
it's like a game everybody plays. It's an instant, oh, they're from Colombia. Oh, they're from Peru. Oh, they're from, and it's like I grew up in New York. Like we didn't really do that. But when I'm down here, it's just always constant, like just trying to identify where somebody's from.
Yeah, the one of my girlfriends is Dominican, and oh man, Dominicans speak so quickly.
That sometimes that's how I can tell somebody also, like how fast are they speaking? Did you get pretty good? Like if I dropped you in Tokyo, would you be able to like, or you don't remember any of it?
I would be okay. Yeah, the thing is, interestingly, I've never actually been to Japan. I travel a lot, but I still have not been to Japan, which is like a weird choice for me.
It's on my
Um,
bucket list too, because you need a visa. It's not like you can just get on a plane and go.
yeah, but
That
I spent a month in Brazil, and like that, the visa there is also kind of annoying and complicated. So you think I
not
could have made it?
anymore. I was just there. They
Oh,
do it
really?
online now. Yeah, yeah,
Oh,
you
what?
get it in like less than 24 hours now.
That's amazing. Yeah, I had to like
Yeah,
mail my passport to somewhere, and
that
then
was a
they,
couple of years ago, but now it's
yeah,
all online. And I'm okay, like with the visa, like take my money. I don't have a problem. Just don't make me surrender the passport. I just,
yeah, it stresses me out.
yeah, I know. I was traveling so much at one point, I wanted to get two passports because I
Just in
couldn't go
case.
to, because
Oh,
there were a couple times I couldn't go on a trip because I couldn't give it up. Like it was too risky to see what would happen, right? Over, yeah. But no, Brazil's easy now. But I haven't tried to get the visa in Tokyo recently, so maybe they changed that too. You know, you're gonna need, you need one for the UK now. Did you know
oh,
that?
because it's not because of Brexit, it's not in the EU anymore.
I don't know if it's a Brexit thing as much as a UK thing. And you get that back in less than 24 hours.
Hmm.
But Europe has been talking about this now for like every year that we're going to need a visa,
Yeah.
but it
Yeah.
hasn't happened yet. All right.
Yeah.
So anime, you had
Yes.
all of that. That's good. But were you doing sports, music, art? Like what else? What other things are you
Yeah,
into?
I guess all the things. So I played, so I swam competitively all through my childhood, and then I started playing water polo in high school, and then I played water polo in college as
Wow.
well.
Really?
Um,
Oh yeah. Don't go. Don't. We're still in high
uh,
school, so
yeah,
don't
yeah,
jump
yeah,
the college
you're
yet.
right. And
We'll get
then
there. We'll get there.
also in high school, I did a lot of like theater stuff. So I usually I was on the tech side. So I did like lighting and I did like props and I did like set design.
That's cool.
But I did a lot of that as well, which I enjoyed. I really liked I think theater kids get a bad rap, but I like them. I think they're, they're nice weirdos.
Now, number seven is like now doing the music theater classes and stuff, and she's really good at it. But it takes a lot to get on stage, especially at like 13, 14, and she's like super comfortable with it. So yeah, but I guess I don't know. I can't memorize things at that level. Like I tried out for a play one time in junior high school. I can't memorize. I'm really good on my feet. If you give me a summary of what you want me to say,
Hmm.
I'll belt it out. All right.
Yeah.
I can't reproduce it, so that's one take. But the memorization was always a problem with me. So you're
What?
doing competitive sports.
Mhm.
So when the high school is about to end, are you thinking uni with the scholarship? And then like what are you thinking in terms of maybe what you want to study?
Yeah, so what I thought I wanted to do when I was in high school is I thought I wanted to be a biologist because biology was my favorite subject
Okay.
in college. And so I wanted to go, I mean, I think like I lived in a time and with the type of parents that were like college was not optional. It was like I never even considered not going to college because I never even thought of that as an option that was available.
Yeah, and even I graduated high school in 87
Mhm.
and it was the same thing. Like I really wasn't ready for college, but like that's what you did next. There wasn't any.
Yeah.
If not, then you were working retail at home, and the last thing I wanted to do is go work in a
Yeah, I definitely
store.
don't want to live at home anymore. That's for sure. I was like,
Yeah.
I was definitely and still kind of am like, I definitely rebel against rules. And so I was like, definitely wanted to be on my own as soon as possible. But yeah, so I decided I wanted to go to a school that specialized I mean, I went on a whole like college tour. I went like to colleges in all over California because that's where I lived and it was like easiest to get to those. I think I ended up seeing some colleges on the East Coast as well. My parents had family on the East Coast, so we went and visited them. I looked at colleges over there, and I ended up settling on like a college that specialized in math and science because I thought I wanted to do biology, and that's like that's science. Um,
Okay.
so it was a good fit.
So the college didn't really have biology, or it had
They
a
did
biology
have
class.
biology, but I just didn't end up doing that actually, as it turns out. So they had like the college I went to is called Harvey Mudd College. It's in Southern California, and they only have math and science degrees. They don't have any other types of degrees. It's not a thing. So they
So
only
why
do
that
like biology
college?
and math.
You could almost went anywhere, right? So was it how far away from the home was it? Is it at least 3 hours away from?
Yeah, so it was in LA
Okay.
and I lived in Sacramento, so that's like a 6 hour
Oh, it
drive,
was in
8 hour
LA.
drive.
It was in LA.
Yeah, like
Okay.
LA area. Yeah.
You know, it drives me crazy that LA is considered Southern California because in my brain, it's like in the middle of the state. I don't know why. Like San Diego to me, again, I grew up in New York and I live here in Miami, right? I don't know California very well, but like San Diego's in the south and like LA to me is like in the middle. And I, when people say Southern California, I think of San Diego. I don't think of LA. I don't
Amazing.
know why.
There's like a whole
Is that
vibes
silly?
thing. No, I mean like there's a vibes thing, and like there's definitely a change in vibes below a different latitude. So like like Santa Cruz is where the vibes change and you become more Northern California, and then below Santa Cruz the vibes change. But LA is like its own thing where it has its own separate vibe.
I'm looking at the map now, and I am silly. You know, Los Angeles is pretty far south.
Yes,
San
but
Francisco's like in the middle.
yeah, but you're right on the vibes though. Like the vibe check is correct. Like LA has its own thing and it is Southern
Yeah.
California, but it's like a flavor of Southern California that like San Diego and Santa Barbara feel more similar than LA does, even though LA is in between them.
I love San Diego. It's like chill.
Yes.
Right, like it's chill there. LA doesn't. I'm always like tense when I'm in LA. Well, Santa Monica is cool, but still, it's like intense, right?
Yes, it is.
But now that I'm looking at the map, I feel bad for thinking it was in the middle. San Francisco. I was just in San Francisco last week. That city has made me so sad.
Too rainy? Or sorry, too cold?
It's just dead. Like I remember you could go to San Francisco and the city was alive. You could run into people. It's like gone. It was just so sad.
That's true. You mean post-pandemic?
Yeah.
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 Yeah, it was sad.
Yeah.
Okay, so
yeah.
All right. And you said you were living in Sacramento.
Yes, that's where I grew up. Yeah.
Right. Okay.
And so I moved on to is LA area.
Were you excited about going to LA? Was that like a big?
That wasn't important to me. The college was important. Where it was not important. I knew I wanted to move out of Sacramento. Sorry to anybody who's from Sacramento, but anyone who's from Sacramento understands, like, I kind of wanted to leave that place. It is getting cool. I have visited recently. It is getting cool, but it was not cool when I was there.
I mean, but like, no matter where you live, I mean,
that's true.
At some point, the novelty wears off, right? Like, you need to explore. But LA is a big move at the time. Okay.
Yeah, so it was nice. It was a plane flight. It's like an hour and a half plane flight, but like 6 to 8 hour drive. I can't remember how many hours.
Yeah, it's perfect distance.
Perfect distance. No one can drop in on me.
That's right.
I'm just there. I'm gone.
They can't say, Mary, I need you to babysit the dog because no,
yeah,
it's too far away.
Sorry, yeah, I can't afford a plane flight. I'm a poor college student. What am I supposed to do?
Here at Ardan Labs, we believe in empowering companies to reach their full potential through innovative technology solutions. Trusted by small startups and Fortune 500 companies alike, we specialize in high-performance software consulting, training, staffing, development, and now AI. With over 14 years of experience, Ardan Labs has trained over 30,000 engineers and served over 1,000 companies worldwide. Whether you're mastering Go, Rust, Kubernetes, Terraform, or blockchain, we're your strategic partner for performance-grade solutions. Let's elevate your tech journey together. Reach out to Ardan Labs today.
So you go to this school that has math and science. You want to do the biology, and you're doing the swimming there, which is cool. Okay. Did you do the swimming? Like, was that part of the deal going there? Did they give you any, or it was just something that you just wanted to continue to do because you like swimming?
Yeah, no, I mean, I got I got addicted to water polo when I was like, because I found water polo through swim team, and I had a swim coach that, taught me, that was like, oh, let's play water polo for fun on the side. And I was like, this is great. And so one of my requirements, I had 2 requirements for my college. One was that I wanted them to have a water polo team, And then the other one was that they needed to, this is actually in reverse order though. The most important thing is that they had degrees in math and science, or like science of some kind. And they were like reputable for math or science. And then the second was that they needed to have a water polo team.
Gotcha.
So
I grew up in New York and I live in Miami. I don't go to the beach. I've never been a good swimmer, but I love watching the water polo because I just can't imagine that somebody can tread water that long. Like
once you learn the technique, it's not that hard actually. But like there's a specific technique, and if you don't know the technique, it's very exhausting.
Oh, but still, I mean, it requires your legs have to be
true.
Super, right? Like super strong. Yeah. Like you're not missing. You never have a day where you missed leg day.
Yeah. Yeah. There's no missing of leg day. They're just every day is leg day.
So you didn't. All right. So you went in with biology. By the time you finished university, what did you end up getting that degree in?
Yeah. So actually, one interesting thing about my college is I got a degree in engineering. And everyone's first question is what kind. And the weird thing about my college is that they didn't give away specific engineering degrees. They only gave away general engineering degrees, and you had to learn every kind. So I studied mechanical engineering, chemical engineering, electrical engineering, computer engineering. You could do other things. I studied biomedical engineering as well, but like you had to learn all of them. Systems engineering was another standard one, and you just came out with a general engineering degree.
Which one did you like the most though? Like, what was your favorite class?
My favorite class was biomedical engineering, actually.
Biomedical. Okay.
Yeah.
So the biology was still sticking with you.
I guess it was, yeah. Yeah.
That really requires a lot of chemistry, doesn't it?
Yeah. And actually, my first job out of college, I was a chemical engineer. So that was like what I ended up going into first. But yeah, there's a lot of chemistry involved. I think that like chemistry and chemical engineering is one of the coolest things because I don't know, like the best way to say it is just like your specialty is drugs and bombs. Like that's what you make. You make drugs and bombs. And like, isn't that crazy that could be your whole career is you make drugs and bombs?
I never thought about that. My sister has a PhD in microbiology. Mm-hmm. And now she's trying to start a company to cure some form of cancer. I don't know. I couldn't even read the title of her thesis. That was was that bad.
Yeah, that's true. And also you can cure cancer. Sorry.
Bombs. What'd you say?
Bombs, drugs, and curing cancer. There
Bombs,
you go.
drugs, and curing cancer. That's where you're at. Pick your poison.
Yeah.
That is so funny. I'm going to say that to my sister next time I see her. That is so good. You kind of sneaked a little detail in there because at some point you're going to graduate with your 4-year and you have to decide, do I want more education or do I want to go work? Mm-hmm. So it sounded like you decided I was going to go work. So tell me how you get this job.
Yeah, it wasn't necessarily an intentional choice to go to work, I have to say. So we're going to go to the year time. So I graduated from college in 2010, in the middle of the Great Recession. And also I had a massive amount of student loans. Actually, I came out of Harvey Med with $150,000 of student loans. And so
sorry,
I thought about grad school, but I could not afford my student loan payments and go to grad school. Like it just wasn't a thing. And there were only certain loans I could defer. I couldn't really defer a lot of them.
Even if you continued school, some of those you couldn't defer. You had to start paying back.
Yeah. And I part of it is my lovely dad who co-signed on a ton of loans, like beyond what normally people would get so that I could go to this school. And very grateful for him. But I realized after I graduated, the amount of risks that he'd taken onto himself. And I'm like, wow, that was crazy. I'm going to go work now. I'm not
He trusted his daughter. That's it. He trusted his daughter.
Yeah. So grad school wasn't really an option because I couldn't afford it, which at the time I was kind of bitter about, but actually I don't think I would have liked it anyway. So I'm pretty happy. But yeah, so I went into the workforce and I just sort of looked for any job that I could possibly have. Great recession, the job market was not great. I think it took me I think I've got my first job in like October of 2010. So to me, that was like a long time to like try to find a job.
Well, one would have argued that you graduated in May-ish, June, right?
Yeah, May.
So 3 months roughly. That's fair. I mean, that's fair anyway, especially for the time.
Yeah, yeah. So that felt like, you know, a really long time to me.
I guess it would have been like 6 months. Yeah, right.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
June, July, August, September.
Yeah.
Yeah, that could. So when I graduated in the end of 91, the economy was also pretty bad. And I remember it took me like 8 months to find a job. But which was even sadder, Mary, is after 6 months, I gave up and I said, I'm just going to join the Army because why not? I'll get my security clearances. I can go to officer school. I got my degree. The Army didn't even want me. They failed me on the physical. And now I was really depressed. You ever seen Captain America, how he got the Section 4F? Because they looked at his chest and they went, no, dude, you can't go into this. So if you ever watch Captain America, he gets a Section 4F on the paperwork before the serum thing hits.
Oh my gosh.
And I'm watching this movie and I'm like Captain America. I got the 4F. So
I don't know. My version of that is I applied at Sizzlers and got rejected with an engineering degree. That was just like, they were like, no.
Oh, okay. Yeah, maybe that's better. Not that it's a competition, but
For who has the saddest job story?
that was, now I got to hear that. How the heck, were you overqualified to
I don't know, man. I applied everywhere. I started applying for engineering jobs and like those weren't working out. And then I was like, I just need any job. So I'll just like apply for any job. And so I started applying for like Sizzlers and like, I don't know, whatever, any jobs around.
I liked Sizzlers, man. I liked Sizzlers. I was like sad when there were no more Sizzlers.
What's interesting, I don't think I've actually ever eaten at a Sizzlers. The only time I went to a Sizzlers was to apply for a job that I then got promptly rejected for. They didn't tell me why. I was just like, no.
Wow. I'm just, the point of my story was I was so depressed that the Army didn't even want me, that I didn't even know what to do.
Yeah.
And then like, I don't know, 6 weeks later, I took the job for $18,000 a year because I just wanted a job. They were paying me nothing. I didn't care.
Yeah.
Right? You have to get the first job.
Yeah. That was my logic. I was like, I'll take any job.
But that was a good job. So tell me about how you ended up landing this. This is now 2010, right? End of 2010.
Yeah. So yeah, this is like October 2010. And yeah, I applied for a job at a company that made spectrometers. And their product was that they made spectrometers that had like probes you could stick right into a like ongoing process. So like imagine like, I don't know, a tube of like liquids. A common use case was like one of our customers, I think, was making orange juice. So like you have this like tube of like, you know, process happening and you want to know like, okay, when is the sugar level right? When is this level right? And you just put a spectrometer probe right in the tube and it continues.
You're telling me that orange juice Tropicana is that complex? I thought they just squeezed oranges in a machine. Oh my God, this is mind blowing. Okay, keep going.
Yeah, and like aspirin manufacturers, that was another one. And then like oil and gas was another one of just like, cool, you need to make sure that your like biodiesel has the right amount of, you know, methane. No, not methane.
So what part of the product did you work on?
Yeah, so I did two things because it was a really small company. I think the whole company was like 10 people or something. And I did two things. One of them is I helped with R&D. So I was helping, like I was working in their little lab, like doing research on potential new applications for their spectrometers. And the other thing I did is like, I just answered questions from people who from customers who wanted to buy stuff. And so they would call in and say like, hey, I need a part for my spectrometer, or like, hey, I have this like specific use case. Do you have something that fits? Like, so kind of like sales engineering plus R&D is like the two things I was doing.
Yeah.
So yeah.
You had to learn the product pretty quickly for that.
Yeah. I remember it being like they only like these spectrometers are fairly complicated, so they only had like 3 or 4 kinds, and then they had like different attachments. But other than that, it wasn't like super difficult.
But you have to play with these things. I mean, did they like just let you spend a couple of days playing with these instruments? So you had to decent idea of how they worked and what they could do?
I mean, the lucky part of like doing both sales engineering and working in the lab is that like by doing R&D, I was like essentially playing with the stuff. So like I got to actually use the equipment while doing R&D while like doing the sales engineering.
Mary, I just what little I've know about you right now over the last 35 minutes, I'm imagining that you're like wanting to go home and say, what can I put this thing in? What can we sort of, spec out here?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, one of the fun things I did is like trying to find an application for like use in biodiesel. That was a fun one. And so I was like making my own biodiesel and then like not at home in the lab.
Okay. And trying it in the neighbor's car just to see if it would.
Yeah, not my car, that's for sure.
So how long were you at this company? How long did
Actually,
you
I think I was only there for like a year or so. I got recruited to a software company after that.
Tell me about the recruiting, because these are the fun stories. Like another job comes across your desk. Like, how did that happen? Was it cold calling? Was it a friend?
Okay, so I must have found this job. This company was in Sacramento, so I was like living back in Sacramento, which to me is like, and apologies to
on
everybody.
On your own. You're
On my own, but still in my hometown that I really wanted to leave. And so, but I was like back there because like my parents had like bought a new house and they were renting out their old house because the market was bad. And so I was like managing their house and like renting it out to people and then like paying them rent. And so like I was doing like maintenance and stuff on the house and things. So I was like managing this house, I guess. And I was just like, I hate this. I'm still in Sacramento. What a sad place. Sorry again to everyone who lives in Sacramento, but like at the time it was a very sad place.
It was sad for you. We're just going to clear.
Sad for me.
Sad for me.
Yeah.
That's it.
But again, I will say, I keep going back to this. Like, I have been to Sacramento since then. They do have a good pastry shop now. So like,
it's now not sad for me.
It's not sad, and a good cocktail bar.
You need a good cocktail bar.
Yes, they have a very good cocktail bar.
If you don't have a good cocktail bar, that drives me crazy. That still happens in Europe. I have to always ask if they take credit cards, because it just, you make that mistake, it hurts.
Well, they have an ATM right in the cocktail bar, which I used because I'm not going to have, $100 of cash on me. That's crazy. But anyway, so at the time they had no cocktail bar, no pastry shop. And I was just like, I feel sad that I'm still here. I never wanted to just like live in my hometown my whole life. This sounds bad. This sounds like I'm a boring person is like what I was worried about. And
I feel like you're almost feeling like a failure because
yes.
you haven't launched out of Sacramento. Like you did for 4 years, but
then I got just sucked right back in,
Yeah. But everybody ends up going back home after school for a little bit.
Yeah. And I'd also lived in California my whole life, like Sacramento down to LA, back to Sacramento. So like, yes, I felt like I'd moved around California a little bit, but it was still like, I'd never really like lived out of the state. And I had some friends of mine who I went to college with who were getting their PhDs at the University of Wisconsin in Madison.
Don't tell me you went to Wisconsin.
I did go to Wisconsin.
Oh,
this is exactly what happened.
God.
Exactly what happened.
Oh my God. Okay.
And so my friends were like, actually, like, economy's doing pretty well here. There's like a good tech scene here. Like, I bet you could find a job. And so I started job searching in Wisconsin. I was like, well, I already have friends there. They say it's cool. And
cool is right. Cold.
Yes, that's fair. And I visited and it was fun. So I found a job in Madison. And it was at a software company. So this was my first software company now. And they did marketing for hospitals. And so I can't remember. I think I found them.
What do you mean? Wait.
Yeah.
A software company doing marketing. Was it like online ad sales or something? Like, how does software? How does that connect those dots?
It's a great question. Okay, so it gets even weirder. I'm going to say more words that makes it sound even more ridiculous. It was a company like a software type tech company that had a whole physical mail marketing arm. And that was like what I worked on the most. And so what we did is we collected electronic medical records from hospitals and then used that data to market screenings to people. So marketing like colonoscopies, mammograms, things like that.
that data you were allowed to. That's like private data today.
Yeah,
Like,
I mean,
you
it was
couldn't do
like there
this.
was a lot of so that was like my fun foray into data security too, because it was all HIPAA, it's all medical data, right? So it was all under
Yeah.
HIPAA. And like there's a ton of like, we have to enter an agreement with the hospital. We had to have a ton of security around all of our systems. This is back in like what, 2011. We had our own data, like we had our own servers in our own office that had like a man trap and everything. And like only like 3 people in the whole company were even allowed in the server room. And then
That's
like
crazy.
and so yeah, so we had like medical data. It was pretty interesting. And so what we took all this like electronic medical record data, and we like it was from a lot of disparate sources.
You're the reason we have all these laws now. I just realized that.
Probably. Yeah, but the security was pretty good. It was pretty intense security.
But was it electronically delivered, or did you have to like?
Yes, it was all SFTP servers actually, mostly. Yeah.
Yeah, that doesn't make me feel any better, but okay.
Well, actually, I'm going to tell you something that's going to make you feel worse. We had better security than almost any hospital we were working with. We had to be like, oh, well, actually, because also part of the problem is that we were generally working with the marketing department at hospitals. We weren't generally working with like the physicians or like the data people or the IT people. And the marketing people, wow, did we have to teach them about HIPAA even though they worked at a hospital?
So the hospital contracted you to do all the work to get the mailing out, so somebody might come and buy $100 screening.
Yeah, exactly. And we had all the medical data because, like, for example, like you don't want to market a mammogram to someone who's had a double mastectomy, right? And so you need to have like all of their procedural data and medical data, so that you don't like accidentally offend the person.
This business can't even exist anymore, can it? Wow, it's wild.
I don't know. This business still does exist. This business is still alive. Yeah.
Still doing this stuff?
Yeah. Hold on, I'll Google it real quick.
Wow. You would think that this wouldn't even be able to exist unless maybe that's when you go to the doctor's office and you just sign everything blindly. You've just agreed to allow your medical records to go to this company.
Yep.
So they can send you a flyer. That's probably what's happening now.
Yep.
I don't remember doing that. Yeah. Remember the 100 form that you just blindly signed?
Yep.
So what were you doing over there? Were you writing software? Like, what was the tech stack?
Yeah, so we were building, it was a lot of just like old school like MySQL, like it was all on the like data side, so there wasn't a lot of like we didn't build a whole lot of software that was surfaced to customers. Like we were mostly like handling databases and like MySQL databases and things.
But were you printing the mailings and getting and
yeah, the company was, although that wasn't really my role. Like my role is I worked directly with the hospitals and the marketing departments at the hospitals to make sure that the data transfer happened, that we were importing the data into the right places, that the data was like getting normalized and cleaned up appropriately. And so that our mail center could like, and then analyzing the data to tell our mail center like which people to market to.
So that's cool. So you were doing a lot of SQL. But you had to be writing some programs to do the data transformations from the raw file off of FTP into the databases.
Yeah, we did a lot of like
cleanup. Yeah,
there's like data cleanup. I'm trying to remember, like we had some really old stuff because this is back in 2012. We had some really old ETL stuff that like I couldn't even imagine using today.
No, that's fair. How long were you at that company?
I think 3 years, maybe.
Oh my God, that's a long time.
Yeah.
Did you like living in Wisconsin for 3 years? Come on, be honest with you. It was cold.
So
I left New York because it was too cold.
Yeah. So this is actually this is my pitch. I'm gonna now pitch another city. Madison, Wisconsin is super fun. Anyone who wants to visit Madison, Wisconsin, I highly recommend it. The people are so kind. There's really good beer. There's an amazing farmers market on Saturdays. Go in the month of September. Don't go any other time.
Okay.
That's the only time that the weather is nice there.
It's the only time you can go to the farmer's market.
The farmer's market's open from like May to October every Saturday, but the weather is the nicest in the first 3 weeks of September. So that's like that is indeed why I left Wisconsin, is because of the weather. It was specifically like the lack of sun. It was like cold all winter and not very sunny. And then even in the summer, you would have some sunny days, but there was a lot of like rain and thunderstorms and things.
Kind of sounds like Seattle.
Yeah, except like hotter and colder. Both hotter and colder than Seattle. I was like, y'all have a great town here, but like the weather here is garbage. I don't know why.
You've done everything you can, but sorry, can't handle anymore.
Yeah.
Put a dome around the city. Is there any way, I always wondered this, is there any way if you're living in like Wisconsin to not get sucked into being a Green Bay Packers fan?
I'm not a Green Bay Packers fan. If that
But
helps.
the whole city, it's all Green Bay.
That's true.
Right?
I mean, everyone's really into. Well, actually, and in Madison, everyone's really into the college football. The University of Wisconsin team is like a big deal. The Badgers, which everyone will know. That's the big deal in Madison. People are Packers fans for sure, but like usually number one in Madison is like University of Wisconsin is the Badgers.
I'm a big Notre Dame fan. I love college football.
Yeah.
I'd get sucked into that real fast. Okay, so you're there 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
Let me think again now. You got there in like 2010. You moved there.
2011.
So 11, so 11, 12, 13, so like now it's about 14. And after 3 years, you're not just leaving because of the weather. I mean,
Well, I didn't intend, like, I wasn't really looking for a job. This time I got actually recruited.
Ooh.
And so I was like living in Wisconsin. I was like, the weather kind of sucked, but it was really fun there and I really liked it. But then I got recruited to work at a different software company. And this is back in the day when you don't work remote. So like you actually had to move if you, to
But
like.
where is the recruiting happening on? Like a LinkedIn?
This is on LinkedIn, I think. Yeah, I got a LinkedIn message from the recruiter there.
So they pinged you just at the right time. You were just sort of like,
Yeah.
let's see what's going on here. So what was, so talk to me about the company here. What's up?
Yeah, so the next company, this is SendGrid, and
SendGrid.
yeah,
Okay. Yeah.
So I got recruited by they have an office in Orange County, California, not Florida. An office in Orange County. I always have to remember I have to tell East Coast people I'm not talking about Florida when I say Orange County.
You know, when I hear Orange County, I only think California. I don't know why. I do not think about Florida at any level.
So I got recruited. They were they're like, you have to live in Orange County, California, but we're gonna give you like a $30,000 pay bump. And I was
With the
like,
cost of living, it's basically the same.
Yeah.
Because now you're back in LA, right?
Yeah, so now I'm back in LA. Yeah, so they recruited me, and I moved to Orange County to be in their Orange County office because that's where the position was. And now I'm back in LA, but in Orange County, which like people in LA will be like really intense about splitting the two. They're like, no, it's a different thing. There's LA and then there's Orange County, and it's because there's some like rivalry, like the vibes are different. I don't think they're as different as they think they are, but you know, they are different vibes.
All right.
So now I'm back in LA, actually in Orange County, working at SendGrid, on their DevOps team.
And that's 2014.
Think so? Let's find out. 2013.
2000. When I was looking, okay, so SendGrid started in
only there for
2009.
Yes.
Okay, so they've been around at that point for like 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, what a great company. We're using it at Ardan still, right? Like they've like
I
they
love
solved
SendGrid. It's the thing
problems.
that just works.
Yeah. I mean, if you don't want your email blacklisted, like, but wait, so this is interesting. You went there for a DevOps sort of role.
Mm-hmm.
Talk to me about that, because now wow. So did you not like the programming data side, or you just wanted a new challenge?
Well, I mean, on the data side, it was mostly databases, so it wasn't that different, actually.
So you felt like you were doing ops anyway.
Yeah. And I was doing a lot of, like, in every job I do, I end up doing project management too, in addition to what I'm like I end up doing project management. And so I was helping with project management there. At CPM, and then
do you go crazy if things aren't organized and sort of planned out? Is that part
I
of your
dislike
personality?
inefficiency.
Because the one reason for you to constantly end up picking that rock up is just because you see the chaos around you. You're like, nobody else is going to clean this up. I got to, I'm going to do it.
Yeah, and even at my first job at the spectroscopy company, one of the things I started doing was I started project managing their manufacturing department because they were late all the time. And my customers would be like, "Why are you late again?" And so I'd like go to the manufacturing department and be like, "Why are we late?" And they were like, "Oh yeah, well we needed more like screws from this special place and like we just didn't order them."
And
I
there were
was
no
like,
consequences ever. So who cares?
and then we had like my favorite example is like we had a special spectrometer. We had a spectrometer that had a special blast proof case that you could only, there was a special EU certified blast proof case. And only this one company in Italy made it, and they were always 3 months late. And so I was like, guys, just like put the due date 3 months out. Like, they're never
You
gonna
know
be
it's
on
going to be
time.
3 months. They're Italians. They're Italians. They're sleeping in the afternoon. Of course it's not going to be here. I'm
not
half
gonna be
Italian.
okay.
I can say what I...
Yeah, I feel like every country that's mostly warm is on island time a little bit, which I respect.
Which,
So yeah, so I think that is the thing that like I always had a knack for that I never really thought about studying. But it just sort of like operational inefficiency is something that I can spot and like I can fix it. And I like fixing things.
So before a trip, like let's say that you just made a trip to go to Europe. Are you like already planning what's going to be in your suitcase like 2 months? My girls do this and it drives me. I pack my suitcase like that night or the day, like hours before the flight. But my daughters, I don't know where they get it from. Like they start making lists of like the things they want to pack before like I don't know where it comes from.
This is not me actually.
Okay.
And now you're catching me in my like weird dichotomy of the way I live my life. I travel all the time. Actually, I travel for fun as much as possible. I don't pack until the night before. The only thing I like to do is I like to give myself a couple hours where I'm not focusing on anything very important between when I packed and when I leave, so that I can remember stuff I forgot.
My God, lately it's been really bad. I have the ponytail. I went to Brazil and forgot to pack my hairbrush because normally I'll shower before and everything I touch I put in the bag. Well, I didn't shower before the trip and I forgot a whole bunch of things. And it was almost impossible to find some of these things on the trip. And because you're whatever, I'll buy it. Well, sometimes
Yeah.
it ain't that easy to buy it.
Yeah, there are non-negotiables in my like this has to make it in the bag. Like, and it's like my cell phone, my passport, my laptop charger, my cell phone charger, my night guard, because if I don't have that, it's going to be a bad time. And then like everything else we can figure out.
That's like those things I've never forgotten. Like they're in my laptop bag, but it's the toiletries and the or underpacking shirts sometimes. Right? Because sometimes you're on a trip and somehow, for whatever reason, you're going through 2 shirts a day and you're not prepared for it. Those are the dumb things that happen to me.
Yeah. But yeah, no, actually I don't plan. And the other thing is I generally don't plan anything when I go to another city. I plan the flights and I plan where I'm going to sleep and I plan nothing else.
I'm the same way. I let life happen. But when you go to Europe, sometimes it's a bummer because like my wife and I have go to Florence every year. But if you don't book tickets for the Basilica, you'll never getting in.
But yeah, I
Right?
just don't go to that stuff. Yeah, exactly. That's the trade-off that I make. There's a trade-off I'm making. Also,
Yeah.
like, and whenever I go to New York, it's like you need reservations at restaurants, and I'm like, oh, I'm not gonna do this.
Yeah, no. You and I are exactly the same. But for the trip this year, I told my wife already, why don't you like just get the Basilica ticket? Like I've been there so many times and I haven't been in it. It's a crime.
Yeah.
You know, like it's a crime. Just get like
This
just
time we'll get the tickets. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I
No,
also
because
like if there's like an anchor restaurant, that can be a nice thing. I'll be like, okay, I'm booking an entire trip around going to this restaurant, so I'll just make the reservation 4 months in advance, and then that's my only thing that I'm gonna schedule.
yeah, but your luck, that's the day the friend calls out or something happens and you really want it and you want to be somewhere else, right? Like That's why I hate. I'm really bad. Like I'm really bad with this stuff. I've landed in like San Francisco and realized I can't remember what hotel I booked
Well, I
at
mean,
midnight.
definitely. Well, the thing is that like once I have so many things going on in my head all the time that I'm very diligent about writing things to a database and flushing the cache. So it's like once it's in my email, once it's written down, I don't need to know it anymore because I can go find it later. So like, yeah, I absolutely will land in a city and be like, I don't know where I'm staying. That's why I have my email.
And I look it up. But
Yeah,
that one night, I looked it up and it wasn't there. And
That's
I was
always
like,
a bad time.
no, I started calling hotels. Like,
Yeah.
I stay in the IHG hotel. So I just started calling them all.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have a reservation for me? Do you have a reservation for me?
Yeah. I had this happen where like I thought I booked a hotel and I didn't get a confirmation email. And so like right before we were supposed to fly out, I was like, I don't have a confirmation email for our hotel. And then I just like called the hotel and I was like, hey guys, like I think I booked with you. Did I book with you? Like I think I did, but
Yeah, no, I know. We could tell these stories all day. Okay. Okay. So you're back in LA.
Mhm.
You're at SendGrid, which is
Yes.
awesome.
Yes.
It's 2014, and you're going to do an ops role there. So tell me about the ops role. Were you working on what were you sort of in charge of?
Yeah, so our team, so SendGrid also at the time had all of its own servers, all of its own databases. Or sorry, all of its own servers, all of its own data, not its
It
own
had its own data
centers.
center. Oh,
Yeah. Not its own, like we rented space in other data centers, but yeah, like we had a space in Equinix, we had a space, like we had different data centers that we rented from. So it was an interesting experience because it's not like what a lot of people think of as DevOps today. It was that, like we did like, you know, monitoring and alerting and things like that, but we also did like managing our servers and like ordering the servers and like setting up the racks and setting up the networking and like doing all the networking.
Yeah, the upgrades, like the OG ops of the time.
Yeah, OG ops. Yeah, and
ops.
that team was super fun. And again, like I ended up doing a lot of organizational stuff too. So like I was like ordering the servers and like working with the data centers and making sure that the racks got delivered to the data centers and like getting the redundant internet supply and like making sure that all the parts were there. So like I did a lot of like project management there as well. And it was really fun because I was learning all this stuff about hardware that like I didn't ever have to know before. And it's also like I was like 25 years old ordering like $10 million of servers.
How crazy is that?
And I was just like, who's trusting me with this shit? Like, what person is like, yeah, she's got this? Like, I mean, to be fair, I did have it, but I was kind of shocked.
But the first time you see that, you're like, is this right?
Yeah, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm about to commit this company to $10 million. Like, whoa.
My business partner did like contracting at Amex, and the first time he was working on the side where they print all the statements out, and then they had this massive report, and he walked into his boss's office and he said, "There's something broken. This number's too big." And the boss looked at it, he goes, "No, that's about right." And he was like, "Oh my God." Like, I don't know what the number was. It had to be in the billions, right? Or the summary of it all. But Ed was like, "This number's too big."
And I love this about SendGrid generally, because this was a pretty good culture they had across the board, is like they're really good at empowering people. And like my VP of ops, he would just be like, "You did it wrong. You can do it better." And like that was it. And I was like, "I'll go figure it out. I'll do it better."
No other feedback. Just you did it wrong.
You did it wrong. Better. It's possible to do it better. This is what I wanted it to look like. Go make it better. And I really appreciated that, because I do love a not a very short leash. People are just like, "You fucked up. Do it better next time." Like, and I'll be like, "Great. I'll figure out how to do it better." So
that's
anyway,
cool.
That was great.
So you operate that way now with people.
Yeah, I mean, I like to give people more specific feedback so they don't feel like they're like, what did I even mess up, bro? But empowerment's really important to me. Like, I love being able to empower other people. That's why I like got into the roles that I got into, is I love like creating and building really strong teams and then like empowering them to go do their best work, because like this doesn't happen to me as much anymore as I've gotten older, but especially early on in my career, people would be like, oh, you're a lot younger than I thought you would be, considering the like responsibility that you have. And I was like, yeah, well, somebody trusted me anyway. They were like, this person seems like they know what they're doing. Like, go do it.
That had to get annoying after a while, right?
It was really annoying, actually. The thing that was the most annoying is that people, like, I'd be in charge of the super important thing, and people would be like, wait, how old are you? And I'd be like, oh, I'm 25. And they'd be like, they would never take me seriously ever again. And I was like, you took me seriously when I was doing the thing before you knew how old I was.
Oh my God. That's crazy.
Yeah, it was pretty annoying. That didn't happen to everybody. It didn't happen with everybody. But I have some like key remembrances in my life where I'm just like, and then the person never took me seriously ever again.
It's almost like you have to just answer the question with a question. How old do I need to be?
Yeah. Is there an age requirement for this job?
Yeah,
last I checked.
Because I'm 50, if that's what you want me to say. So how long were you at SendGrid doing this work?
Yeah, so I was there for about 5 years.
Nice. That's your longest stint so far, 5 years.
Yeah, I think it's my longest stint I've ever had, actually. I had a lot of fun there.
So what made it all end?
So they went public. And when they went public, the culture in the organization started changing really drastically.
It happens.
Yeah, it happens. And
it has to happen. It's not like...
Yeah.
There's...
I started feeling fairly disempowered. I started feeling like as the company grew, people really wanted people to stay in their lane a lot more. And I was not doing as many new, interesting things as I used to be doing. Like at SendGrid, I got to like go work with like software teams, not just DevOps teams, but also like the billing team and like the website team. And like I got to work with all sorts of teams, which was really great. But then like as we started getting bigger, like my role started getting narrower, and as did everyone's as well. I just like, it got pretty annoying to me. So
yeah, it's just hard to be in this beautiful culture because you only get this a couple times in your career. Well, you
I
get
didn't
to
know
work
that at
with,
the time.
Yeah, if you're lucky, it happens twice where you're around these amazing people and you're all just sort of doing amazing things together, and it just feels easy, right? And then when you lose that, that's all you're remembering. Mm-hmm. And it's just hard to operate at that point because you know what you lost. So it makes sense. It was just time to go. That was it.
Yeah.
It was over.
So I actually left without a job. That was like a weird thing for me as a person who had like job insecurity as a college person. But like I was like, yeah, I think I'll be able to find another job. So I like left without a job and just took a break.
So are you? Now I have to ask because I had my first kid when I was 26. Like that was never an option for me. When I see this online and people like saying I'm taking a funcation, mm-hmm. I'm like, this is not an option for me. So were you single? Like were you the only one you had to worry about at the time?
Yeah, I generally try to stay away from life responsibilities, just as a general rule.
Just don't want to keep anybody else alive but yourself.
Yeah, I can keep my plants alive, but I don't even have pets. Like love animals, I don't have pets. So yeah, so it was pretty easy. But also I had intended to take a break of like a few months. Because I had just like gotten a huge stock cash out. I was like, I can live for a few months. You have some
cash.
And
but how weird is it to wake up in the morning and not have anything to do? Like, I think it's cool for a couple of weeks, right?
Yeah.
But
I ended up going to Europe actually for 3 weeks with a girl I've been dating for like 2 weeks.
Like for 2 weeks?
Yes.
You were just like, you want to go to Europe?
She was like, I'm going to Europe. And I'm like, I mean, I don't got anything
So am I.
do. Yeah, I'll come with you.
Okay, so 3 weeks can go by.
Yeah.
The 3 weeks can work, right?
Yeah.
Because you're still feeling productive. Because you're experiencing Europe, right? But
yeah.
At some point, you wake up one morning and you just don't feel productive anymore, right?
Yeah. Well, actually, I had a new job in 2 months. I started my next job in 2 months. I like didn't really take that much time off. I was like, when did
you do that after you got back from Europe?
I think I was like in Europe. Like, so what had happened was I left, I like take a break. The CISO that I'd worked with at SendGrid was like, hey, like there's a head of engineering role at a cryptocurrency startup if you want to do that. And I was like, that sounds cool. Interview for that. And so I interviewed for that. I think I was in Europe while I was interviewing for part of this part of the time, and then I came in for some in-person interviews, and then like that was it. And then I took that job.
Where was that located?
It was in Denver. Also, oh yeah, sorry, I forgot. In the middle of SendGrid, I moved to Denver. Fun fact.
Yeah, but they were operating. Yeah, they were operating out of Denver. Yeah.
Yeah, so
I had some friends that worked there. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so an office in Orange County and an office in Denver, and at some point I moved to Denver.
Denver's cool. Denver's a cool city. You got to stay hydrated. Every time I go there, I get a headache the first hour because I forget. You have to drink water.
Yeah.
It's
very
I don't
important.
drink a lot of water here in Miami. Like I get yelled at
just
by
absorb it.
my wife and her, right. But the moment I go to one of those dry climates, it's game over. It's like, here it is. I can feel it. But Denver's if you're an outdoors person, you like hiking and all that stuff. Are you into that?
Yeah, I do. Actually, what's funny is I hiked more when I lived in Orange County than I do now that I'm in Denver because the trailheads are busy here because everybody hikes here.
Okay.
In Orange County, I could just like drive 20 minutes, empty trailhead, empty trail. Like my favorite trail, like the trailhead was just like in a neighborhood and then just like out the back of a neighborhood with these like hills.
So you had your space, but in Denver, it's
actually really like there's traffic. I don't like.
You might as well be on 16th Street. What is that street in the middle of Denver?
16th Street, exactly. Yeah.
So you might as well be in 16th Street.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you're living in Denver. So this crypto company's in Denver.
Yeah. So the crypto company is in Denver, and I started working there as like their director of engineering, which was AKA their head of engineering. Because it was again a really small company. I think the whole company was.
But you had no crypto experience, so
nope.
How do you get a job of head engineering at a crypto company with no blockchain or any other experience?
That's a great question.
Right? I mean, it's a fair question.
I mean, I learned it.
I'm not saying you couldn't learn it.
Yeah, no, yeah. But I think it was because like I mean, I interviewed for it, but like it's everything. Everything is so network based. Like of the jobs that I've gotten since SendGrid, like half of them or two of them, I guess it's like two. Is it how many jobs have I had since then? 2, 3? Yeah, okay. Yeah. So I guess with Zcash too. So like 3 of the jobs I've gotten since SendGrid are actually somehow through a connection with SendGrid.
Relationships from SendGrid.
Yeah,
Nice.
and so like networking is real. This is another thing like I wish I'd done better in my career is I wish I'd leaned more into networking. I wasn't really trying, but still getting roles through networking. And now I'm like,
okay,
I should have done that
but
more.
All right, so you're saying I'm looking, where did you lack the networking that you think you should have done? More on LinkedIn, more going to meetups, more community, like you're saying that, but where did you lack the networking?
Yeah, this is a great question because I have just decided that I just decided a few months ago to start doing networking more in earnest, and then just realized about a month ago I was doing it wrong. So like now I have a new whatever, which is just a new like way of approaching it. Was it just like people that you used to work with that you really liked, like just reach out to them regularly and like go grab a drink and like catch up. And like, grab coffee or whatever. Because I think the mistake I was making in the last few months actually is I was like, I really need to network. I want to like learn more about startups and like meet more startup founders and that sort of thing. And I was meeting all these people. I was like, I don't really like you. And then a friend of mine, again, someone I used to work with at SendGrid, so just like set up like a women founders breakfast. And it was like me and like some women founders and some like women investors, and we were all just having breakfast, and I was like, this is amazing. This is the experience I want.
Yeah.
And so like now I've decided to shift my approach of like, no, I'm just gonna like reach out to people that I like and just like have coffee with them and just be like, how are you doing? Because it's way more fun. And then like the whole point of networking is to like make connections. I mean, like if we're looking at it from a very like transactional perspective, is like it's trying to find people you want to work with. And like if you already like these people, then you're more likely to want to work with them versus just like finding random people milling around a room. You may or may not like them at all.
It's all about the relationships that you build with people, right? And you can do that in a lot of different ways. But I like what you're doing, I do online whether it's in Slack, the Go community has a really large Slack, right? I can almost talk to anybody I want there. And there are a handful of people where I just peer out, hey, how you doing? How's it going, right? How's life treating you? I kind of do that. I wish I could do it more in person. Outside of going to conferences, and you have that sort of opportunity to meet more people.
Yeah, I think one thing that I like to do is like I like to travel anyway, and so I will just remember like who's in what city. I'll be like, oh hey, I'm gonna be in the Bay Area. Like, want to grab coffee because I'm gonna be here, or like, hey, I'm gonna be in Philly. Like, so that's been nice is like being able to like just see someone in person if I'm like happen to be in their city.
I do that. I just did that. I was in San Francisco, and a friend of mine works for Google, and I hadn't seen her since 2019.
Yeah.
And she like made 2 hours for me. I was so happy to be able to spend 2 hours with her.
Yeah.
Right. But like, if you don't ask, you can't receive. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, actually, I have two women that I used to mentor, and I don't even know if I'm their mentors anymore because like I don't know. I feel weird saying mentor anyway because it's just like what do they have to learn from me? But like we connect regularly, and I have both of these women. I meet with them once a month, and it's all like one of them lives in the Bay Area, one of them lives in Boston area. So like we'll just like get on a video call or a phone call once a month, and it's just like on our calendar, and we just like check in once a month, see how things are going.
That's awesome.
And that's really nice. It's like a good way to like have continuity in a relationship.
Yeah, I think one of the greatest gifts you could give somebody is your network, right? So somebody needs something, and you know that there's somebody in your network that can sort of help someone.
Mm-hmm.
That to me is like the greatest gift. When somebody says to me, "Oh yeah, I know this person. I'll connect you." That to me is like that's worth more than just about anything else somebody could give me.
Yeah. Yeah.
So tell me about head of engineering at crypto company. What was this company doing?
Yeah, so the company is called the Zero Coin Electric Coin Company was the name of the company technically. And it was a company that supported and maintained a cryptocurrency called Zcash, which is a private coin. And that's what they did. They improved it. They were working on a wallet, digital wallet when I was there. And it was interesting. It was like kind of fun because the whole company was made of like anarchists who hate authority. And so it's really kind of fun showing up as someone's boss when everybody's an anarchist that hates authority. Because I'm also an anarchist that hates authority. So it's like it kind of works. I also hate hierarchy and like power and authority of all kinds. So it was really fun, like being able to gain their trust as like as a person who is inherently suspicious because they were in a position of power.
How long were you at this company?
I was only there about a year because I got recruited to GitHub after that, which was very exciting.
How did you get recruited there? Again, a friend or?
It was a person I used to work with at SendGrid. I'd worked with her there, and she was a VP of engineering at GitHub. And we had coffee, and she was like, "Hey, I'm hiring for a director of engineering. Do you want to like? I know it's not the head of all of engineering, but it's also GitHub." And I was like, "Yes, GitHub. Are you kidding me?" Like,
yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. The answer is yes. So then I started working at GitHub, which was a remote company. They have an office in San Francisco, but they're pretty distributed.
I have a friend who lives in Sydney that works for GitHub. Yeah.
So they're all over the world. And then I worked there, and it was fun. It was very interesting.
What aspect of that? Because you just see the consumer facing sort of website, but there's a lot going on behind the scenes there.
Yeah. So I worked on GitHub Education, which is it's like a program essentially where they give away GitHub for free to educational institutions. And then they have like professors teach their classes on GitHub, and they give a bunch of tools. We had like tools that we built. And it was actually a really good like customer acquisition program, because if you teach a software engineering student GitHub, then when they go to their software company, they're like, why don't you use GitHub? It's the standard.
I told my college, I got kicked off the board, but that's another story, that they needed to be teaching this stuff. So these kids were ready when they came out of school to, that got me in trouble because they wanted to be a purely academic institution, and they were not, as they said, what do you call those 3-month programs? The whatever you
Trade
call
schools or
Not a trade school. Like you can go to school for 3 months and you get a
a
certified.
boot camp?
Yeah. They kept telling me, we're not a boot camp. We're not a boot camp. I said, this isn't about being a boot camp. This is about.
That's hilarious. Yeah.
No,
We
it's
had
crazy.
I actually sat on some sort of advisory committee for a while for a university that wanted feedback on how to improve their computer science program. And like everyone consistently gave the feedback. I loved this actually. Everyone gave the feedback like you need to teach some practical skills. Like they're showing up here with like theoretical skills and that doesn't help. Like they don't know how to write a unit test. And a university, I loved this. One of the representatives at the university was like, okay, you say that, but then your interview questions are all leak code. So like, what do you want? And I was like, that's a beautiful retort. And I support this. This is why interviews shouldn't be leak code.
Wow. If they had said that to me, I would have shut down immediately. Yeah.
No, I was like, well, it was easy for me to not be upset because I was like, yeah, this is why I don't do leak code interviews because I think they're stupid.
No, I wouldn't get upset with that either. Like, if you come back at me that hard, where I'm just like, yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
I don't get upset. I'm like, yeah, you're right.
Yeah, this is fair. Yeah. You are right.
I got nothing to say. I'm done. You win.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's cool. But how long were you at GitHub then?
I think I was there
Not
for
very
about
long.
almost 3 years. And then again,
3 years is good.
yeah, I was happy there, but I got recruited to be the head of engineering at a bigger startup. That was, I had known since I worked at SendGrid that I wanted to be a head of engineering someday. Like that's when I like started realizing that I wanted to be the head of like a whole engineering org.
Why? Why is that?
It was because of that culture shift. Like I think this is like, there's some arrogance in here, to be honest, but it's like, we had this big, massive culture shift as the company got larger. And I don't think it was necessary. Like, I think that you can still have a really good culture of empowerment as your engineering team grows. And there's a way to be like honest and transparent and like work with people and treat them as humans as you're like scaling an organization. And I don't think they did it very well. And I was like, I could do this better. And like, this is frustrating me. Like, to your point, that like that type of experience where you're working with people who you like love working with and you're doing really cool stuff together, I didn't realize how rare that was at the time because that was my like third job. I thought that this is just like what software startups were like. And I've since learned otherwise. But it was like so sad. I was like, this was this beautiful thing. And like, now it's ruined. And like, I don't want that to happen to somebody else. And so like, I'm going to go be head of engineering so that I like don't ruin this thing for somebody.
That's super interesting. Like, I knew after I had that moment in the mid 90s. And I didn't get it again until I met my business partner at this other job before we started Ardan, right? But my answer wasn't, I'm going to become the head of engineering so I can recreate this. Like, that's brilliant. Like, I don't know why that never popped into my head. Like, that's like cool. Like, I want this again and I'm not going to take any chances. I'm going to make it happen.
Yeah, I'm just going to do it myself. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I was at GitHub and I was really enjoying it there. We were doing really cool stuff, GitHub education, community and safety. I was also in charge of our billing org for a while. So it was just like fun stuff and I was having a really good time. And then I had a recruiter that I used to work with at SendGrid, who was like,
damn SendGrid.
I know, again, back to SendGrid. And she was like, hey, like this company is looking, and actually it wasn't just her. Actually, no, it wasn't her. She was the second person. There was two people at SendGrid that worked there. The first person was, she was the executive assistant for the head of engineering at SendGrid. And she became the executive assistant to the CEO at this company. And like this woman, her name is Danny. She's the coolest person on the entire planet. And like, she was like, hey, this place is cool. And I was like, if you say it's cool, then it must be cool. Like that. And so she was the executive assistant to the CEO and she's like, they're hiring for a head of engineering. You want to like check it out? And I was like, I don't know. I really like GitHub. I'm really happy here. And like, I know I want to be a head of engineering for like, again, but do I want it now? I'm really happy. And then I sort of started like going through the interview process. And then, yeah, the recruiter I worked with at SendGrid also worked there. And she was like, no, this place is great. You should check it out. So
what did they do? You got hired?
yeah, so Agents Inc., they do compliance for insurance companies. So like,
Wow.
again, this is like
A
this gonna sound crazy.
completely different. So you went like enterprise.
Yeah, basically,
Wow.
yeah.
Wow.
And it
Wow.
was like, it wasn't the product that excited me, it was the culture that excited me. It was like, okay, cool. Like this seems like a really nice open culture. Like it's a product, it's a software product. There will be problems, there will be interesting technical solutions to solve. Like, am I excited about insurance? Like, no, but like it's fine. It'll be
I don't know how
interesting.
you can have that culture with insurance. Like that's like an oxymoron in my brain.
I feel like you kind of have to if you're a software startup. Like if you're a software startup that does insurance compliance, you have to have something going for you. Otherwise, like how are you going to hire? That
Right.
was my like logic around that one.
So was it a new product they were trying to develop, or were they already in the marketplace and they needed someone to sort of take it to the next level?
Yeah, they already had something in the market. So they were Series A when I joined, and they became Series B while I was there. And they just needed somebody to help like grow and scale and improve the team. They had sort of like they have the same problem that they're in the same phase of every startup. I feel like you have your first set of engineers that you hired to like get the thing from 0 to 1. And then the processes and the people that you used to get from 0 to 1 are not the same processes and people necessarily that you need to get from like 1 to 2. And some of the people can be the same. I have noticed that like the first few engineers at an organization can be really like disastrous later on, but they can be really amazing. Like I've had like the first few engineers be like amazing, like rock humans that are just great, and like really help create continuity throughout the organization, and they're like lovely and collaborative and like they know everything and they're super helpful. And then there's like the first few people who have started that like the reason why they work at small startups is because they can't collaborate. And like they can't really work on a team of more than 3 people because they don't actually like to collaborate with other people. They just like want to write code, and they don't want to have to deal with like convincing other people of their ideas.
But then
Um,
your job,
yeah.
I was going to ask you that question because I've been on both sides of these situations where somebody new has come in, right?
Mm-hmm.
Somebody new's coming in to run engineering, right? And so everybody starts to panic because now everybody's worried about their job, because part of your job is to evaluate everybody that's there,
Mm-hmm.
figure out like who we need to keep based on my vision and who not to keep, right? Like that shouldn't be a secret. I'm kind of curious that is something that you have to do. So sort of, how do you figure that out when you walk into and you don't do it like day 2,
Yeah.
maybe you start at like day 30, but
Yeah. Um, so also like the first thing that I do when I show up is like I just try to build relationships with people, get to know people, observe them working, see what's working, see what's not working. Um, and I will say that like I have an executive coach, and she's like, I remember we had a conversation. I was like a year and a half into Agent Sync, and she was like, Mary, the same 4 people that you told me were a problem a month in are still a problem. Why are you dealing with this? And I
yeah,
was like, that's fair. This is fair. And so I think actually, I kind of know like pretty soon, like it's the people who are not willing to grow and learn. It's the people who are not willing to accept other ideas or give up control. They're not willing to like trust anybody else to make decisions. They want to make all the decisions. They don't want to convince anybody else of their ideas. And they don't want to like learn how to be different. And that's
yeah.
like that's generally the recipe that like I'm like, oh well, this isn't gonna work. And it's like I start with giving feedback. Like I observe, okay, here's what's not working, and then I start giving feedback, and I start seeing how the feedback lands. And if all I get is like, no, you're wrong, I don't agree, this is bad, like I don't think you're right, I don't need to change anything. If that like continues to happen, I'm just like, well,
Yeah. Yeah, it's not
guess it's not
working.
gonna go well.
I have a business where a lot of the clients come to us because they've got problems, right? Like they've got software issues, they've got scalability issues, they have problems. And a lot of the code bases are let's just call it legacy to be nice. And I've got to put people into these code bases that have to start to learn how to be productive. And every once in a while, I get somebody who's just so frustrated because the code isn't perfect or this isn't perfect, right? And I have to tell all of them basically this. I go, your job over the next 30 days when you start is to figure out what rocks people are pushing uphill and not to complain about the size of the rock or how heavy it is, but to jump behind them and help push it. Help push the rock up the hill. That's all you should do. And in 30 to 45 days, they're going to see you pushing the rock and they're going to start to ask you what your opinion is. And then that's your opportunity to very gently start to introduce ideas about how to make pushing this rock up the hill easier. Mm-hmm. But if you walk in and you start complaining about the rock day one, you got a problem because they're already behind it. And this is the last thing that they want to hear right now. Right.
What I find amusing about that is that as a leader, like my thing that I do is when a new engineer shows up, I'm like, cool, we're doing a lot of stuff and I don't think we're doing it all right. So please tell me all the things that you think we're doing wrong. That's actually the thing is like, first thing I want you to tell me is what we're doing wrong. I don't want you to tell necessarily, I haven't really thought about, do I want to tell you to tell the whole team that? Maybe not, but I want your unfiltered opinions on everything we're doing wrong because I can't be everywhere all at once and a fresh set of eyes is really helpful. But usually they'll show up and they'll be like, hey, like I've noticed that we have this like test. It's like always breaking. Like, what's the purpose of that? And then most people will be like, oh, yeah, we could just like never got around.
I just don't know if they can, but I don't know if they can answer that until they're there like at least 30 days, right? Like, I don't know.
They can ask the question. But yeah, for me, I want them to tell me, I like the big thing that I want as a leader is like, I want your unfiltered opinions. It's like, it's my job to take information from a lot of different sources and coalesce it. But I always worry that people are hiding things from me because they're too afraid to say something. And so I try to build a relationship one-on-one with everybody so that they will give me all their unfiltered opinions. But yeah, the pivot people that I like to hire, when they show up, they're like, they don't say, hey, this is stupid. They're like, why do we do it this way? I'm just curious. Like, there's got to be like, I assume that there's a reason that we're doing this way because all of you are smart people and you know what you're doing. So like, why are we doing it this way?
But there's this line between asking the question and then complaining.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah. So typically people don't really, that's fair. That's a fair point. I think I want them to complain to me. I want them to not complain to their peers. I want them to be like, oh, hey, why is it this way? And then they'll come to me and they'll be like, I asked people why it was this way. And they just said, because it was always that way. What's the deal? And I'm like, oh yeah, we just did that. That's not a good decision.
I think you have to remember that the majority of people in leadership positions, and you're way up the top of the org chart, but that team leader, right? They feel threatened every time somebody comes in. And so when you're not confident in your job and your leadership and every comment is threatening to you, this is what a lot of people end up coming into a job experience, right? Mm-hmm. And so if you came to me and said, Bill, nobody's threatened, let me hear all of your thoughts. Mm-hmm. As long as I wasn't saying in a constructive way, I'd be happy to say it. But if I already started getting feedback from the team lead or the person above them that every time I say something, they feel threatened, then I'm going to...
Yep. That can definitely happen. And that's like this is a thing that I struggle with because I feel like as a leader, I'm constantly trying to break patterns that other people have for good reason. Like, I know why they have a pattern. I know the trauma behind it. And I'm like, I need you to operate a different way. And I know it's scary, but like, here, it is okay for you to just come to me and tell me your unfiltered thoughts. And I will try to create an environment where I continue to show you that that's safe, but it's hard because it's not safe in a lot of environments.
No, it's not. It's gotten them in trouble.
Yeah, right? It's gotten them in trouble. It's probably gotten them fired at some point. I don't know.
But Mary, at the same time, you said, give me your unfiltered thought. and the person just goes full out evil, right? Like,
Well, yeah. Well, I mean,
that's
know.
like, that's a warning. Like, right? I call them vampires. Like, what I look for are the vampires on the team, the ones that are sucking all the sort of happiness out of everything. People can transition into a vampire, and if you hire vampire, they can start to turn people into vampires.
That's fair. I think that one thing that I do a lot to people is if they, especially if they've been here for a little bit and they like have gotten a perspective and they like have grounded themselves, they're onboarded, and they come to me about something, like especially if it's something that's in their wheelhouse, I'm like, cool, what are you gonna do to fix it? I agree with you. This is terrible. What do you want to do about it?
Yeah. Don't come to me. Give me the gift, right? Don't come with me with just, I tell that to my guys too. I go, you can't just complain. You got to come with a solution behind it.
Yeah.
Or you're not adding any value to it. It's easy to beat somebody up, but come with the gift. What's the gift?
Yeah. I love
it's
people.
So important.
Yeah. I love people who are like, they get upset and they can't help themselves but to fix it. I love that. And I love just being like evil in the background, like, yes, let your anger grow. Please fix it.
All right, look, we're a little over time, but I'm gonna go to another 10 minutes here. I wanna hear about how you got to Keebo and a little bit more about what's going on there.
Yeah. So I was working in an insurtech startup. And then Keebo focuses on developer tools, which is like, I realized that insurance was like, I thought it was going to be fine. It wasn't super fun. I wasn't super excited about insurance. It was a really great team, and I had a lovely time building that team. And I still like love those people to death, actually. And I'm so excited that I felt like there was, for a period of time, like a really strong team there that got along really well. And I was really happy about that. But Keebo focuses really more on like developer tools, which was really exciting to me, and like is back sort of like in line with like GitHub and SendGrid and that sort of thing. So I tend to like more technical products and more like developer focused products.
Where the developer's kind of your customer in a sense.
Yeah, it's also nice because like it helps me to like, product managers are always so busy. They always have so much to do. And like, it's nice to be able to understand and contextualize things well enough so that you can make small decisions without them around, when they're like off doing a customer call or something, because you can like really gain that intuition by working with them and by understanding it from your perspective. So it's nice to feel, it's like more empowering as well for engineers, I think.
Is this another SendGrid sort of,
Yeah, we didn't actually, we didn't have a lot of product managers at SendGrid. There weren't very many. It was, and I feel like every company seems like mostly has fewer product managers than they need. And so they're all pretty busy.
On all the teams that I work on, I kind of do some of that. It's always shared a little bit. Like I love my teams trying to identify what we should be doing next, what's missing, and where we schedule some of that. It's only, I think only one time in my life, and it was working at Comcast, did I have an official sort of PM in my life, sort of managing all that. I've just never had it.
Yeah, it's unusual. I didn't have a product manager at SendGrid, but of course it was like a DevOps team. And then I didn't really have one at Zcash. Oh no, we had one actually at Zcash on the mobile app. GitHub, I had some of the best product managers I'd ever worked with. And then AgentSync was interesting because like all the product people had to be insurance experts, and it's really hard to find insurance experts that also know how to build like software as a service type products. So that was really fascinating. But
so let me ask you this, because you got a team of you're on the engineering side. So are you, how do I phrase this? I'm going to ask, this isn't the question I want to ask, but it's the only way I can think about it right now. Are you encouraging your engineering team to continue to look at and try out new AI tooling to make them more productive? Or is that just something they're kind of doing on their own?
Yeah, it's a good question. It's a thing that they're kind of doing on their own. This is I feel like every time I come into a new company, it's like peeling back layers of an onion. Like I have the dumpster fires to deal with, and then I like get to like the sequentially smaller fires. And so I haven't even made it to the fire. Well, it's not really
How
a
long
fire.
have you been here?
A little over a year.
Okay.
Yeah, and so I'm finally getting to our architectural fires. And then and I'm also on some of our productivity fires, but our biggest productivity fires are like our tests are flaky, or our builds take too long, or like we have gates that we shouldn't have. So like none of those are particularly ripe for AI, but I do love, like, I think I want my engineers doing the hardest problems that they can be doing and not spending their time on easy problems. And so like I think AI is really helpful for solving like easy repetitive tasks so that they can do the interesting stuff.
Yeah. I'm trying to encourage more and more engineers to just not be afraid of the AI tooling, but to embrace it and understand that you're the intelligence behind the tooling. It's not the other way around. So like just do it, because I think well, one, if you don't, you're not going to be an engineer much longer, right? And it's not that the tool's replacing you; it's just making you potentially better,
Yeah.
or more productive, right?
Yep. Yeah, it's just
Yeah.
like computers. Everyone thought computers were going to take away everyone's jobs, and like the reality is, like, yes, there are jobs that are done by computers now that used to be done by people with calculators, but like we have other things to be doing that's like more fun and interesting.
Yeah. So, like, a question I would want to ask your engineering, like, team as individuals, like, what do you think about AI and AI tooling? Where's your head at, right? And try to find the ones that are afraid of it, and try to find, right, who's embracing it and who's afraid of it, and why are you afraid of it, and try to get them on the other side of that sort of line. That's what I do at Ardan. Like, I'm trying to get people, for the few people that we have that are still afraid of it, I'm like, stop. You got to get over here. You got to get over here.
Yeah. My guess is that if most of my engineers would say like, oh yeah, I totally meant to get to that. Like they're like, oh yeah, like I was trying to launch this thing and everything's like really busy, and like I've been meaning to test out this like thing and I just keep forgetting. Or like I'm just too busy. But I think that it is helpful, like, to take a moment and like learn new tools, and I think that's as soon as you said that, I was like, oh, I should really be encouraging them more than I am, because like right now I'm trying to fix one set of problems and then there's always more problems.
Oh, well, I mean, that's why we're all in business, right? I mean, because there's a ton of things to do, and you can only work on so many things at once, I guess, anyway, at the end of it. But how big is the staff over there? Are you dealing with like 20 engineers or 200 engineers?
Yeah, it's only 12.
Oh, 12. Nice. That's a nice sized team. Yeah. Sweet. Is there anything else I should know about Keebo that we haven't talked about before we sort of finish here?
I think one thing that is really cool about what Keebo is doing is that, like, we're using specifically reinforcement learning, and we have some pretty strong experts on staff that are like doing some really interesting new innovative things with reinforcement learning. And that's been something that's really fun for me, because I have not like done machine learning before this role. And so I think one thing that's really cool is like we're doing some pretty interesting things at like the edge of like how you build reinforcement learning models and how you tune them, that I think is really fun. At some point I want to get our engineers to do another series of blog posts about it, but there's always the balance of like building something versus talking about it.
No, I found it interesting. You said that you were sort of training or retraining certain models in very specific ways, because RAG can only take you so far. And I think it's interesting if you have the money also to spend on a compute for 3 or 4 days to do that, then yeah, I mean, it's it's good.
Yeah, we're finally actually, I mean, there's some ways in which you can use machine learning that doesn't require like heavy compute. But we're starting to get to the part where like, okay, our compute's is starting to be a bottleneck. So
get ready to spend some money on that.
I know, on GPUs. I'm not looking forward to it.
I have a client named Prediction Guard where we're building platforms so people who are going to use this stuff and don't want to run it on like public cloud can run this stuff in their own Kubernetes clusters with public models and stuff. And we're constantly looking at like, oh man, they signed another customer up. We need another machine with a couple more cards, right? Like,
Yeah.
it's just, it's like you want to grow, but growth in this space means a lot of money invested in hardware and compute.
Yeah, our algorithms team, the ones that focuses on our reinforcement learning model, they end up spending probably about 15% of their time going back and fixing cost overruns and the stuff that they did.
It's still new.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's going to happen. Like there's no way around it.
Yeah.
So this is what I love about your story, Mary. You have been the head of engineering at a whole slew of companies. And even if you haven't been the head of engineering, you've been near the top of that. And in almost every case, you got that job without being a subject matter expert in the tech that they were building, which is really super interesting to me. I would have thought that if I was going to apply for a head of engineering sort of thing, I would have not applied to jobs where I didn't have some experience with maybe the technology that they were using. The business problem are business problems, right? But going from crypto to then insurance and now this, that's super interesting to me. And like, did that never gave you pause or fear or concern?
It no. It sounds crazy. No.
It's awesome. It's awesome. It's awesome.
I've never not been able to learn something. That's never like and that was something going all the way back to my college years, like going to Harvey Med College. People ask me like, what was the most important thing you learned? The most important thing I learned was how to learn. The most important thing I learned was like, things sound scary sometimes and you'll figure it out and it'll be fine. It might take you longer than you want. You might need to put in like extra time. You might need to like learn in a new way you hadn't thought of before, but like you'll figure it out. And that is like something I learned with repetition of like, oh yeah, I keep seeing big scary problems and I keep being able to solve them. So I've never found a technical problem I couldn't solve. People problems are more complicated, but technical problems are all solvable.
You're like for me, you're like the Ted Lasso of engineering. Have you seen Ted Lasso?
Yeah.
You are the Ted Lasso of engineering. Like that's how cool you are. Like that's it. That's how I'm going to remember you, Mary.
That's so nice. That's a very high compliment.
That's the way I see it, right? Like you came into the soccer team not knowing soccer, and you just make everybody better around you, not necessarily having to know all the rules for the tech. Like that's what I've gotten out of this interview.
Yeah, I have a phrase that that I really like saying that I'll say this time, which is engineering is a team sport. It's all about building teams, and that is actually my specialty. My specialty is building teams and making them like work well together. Everything else is like solvable. Okay,
we are way out of time.
Yeah, sorry.
I couldn't. No, it's my fault more than anything else. But it went by fast. Like I said to you, this was going to go by fast. Okay, so we'll put it in the show notes. But if somebody wanted to reach out and just talk to you, ask some questions, what's the best way to reach out to you?
Yeah, I think LinkedIn is probably the best way. I want to own I'm not always the best at replying within like a week, but usually about once a week I'll get back to people. So feel free to reach out to me on LinkedIn. Happy to chat.
All right, we'll get that in the show notes. So this was awesome. Thank you for hanging out with me for almost 2 hours.
Great.
But it's cool. So this is Bill Kennedy and Mary Moore-Simmons signing off from the Ardan Labs podcast, and hope to see everybody again real soon.